This is Jarrod Horak for the runawayhorse.com, and in this video for Saturday, February 15th, 2020, we're going to look at some Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby points races from Fairgrounds, but let's look back at last week's races from Tampa Bay Downs right now. We're going to look at the Suncoast Stakes. That was taken by a Lucrezia, and that one paid $13.80. It's had a good trip towards the inside. This was a Kentucky Oaks points race. And she was able to get up on the pace, which is typically a good thing at Tampa Bay Downs. So she was able to do that and sit the right trip and win that race nicely. Daniel Centeno rode for trainer Arnold Delacour. They're a very potent jockey trainer team at Tampa Bay Downs. So you had those hot connections with the right running style, and she was able to pull off the mild upset in this race. She really did dominate. She won by more than 5 lengths. And my horse that I really liked underneath, if you watched my video last week, Turtle Tracks, I thought that one had a good shot to finish second or third. Was able to finish second, rallying late and getting past Motu. Motu for trainer Ken McPeak, making her first start of the year. Not a bad effort. Overall, this race, it wasn't that fast. It was a bit disappointing. I don't know how strong or how important this race is going to be as we get closer to the Kentucky Oaks. But Lucrezia got the job done easily, and we'll see if she can step up and face better horses next time. She's going to have to run faster. The Sam F. Davis Stakes on February 8th, that was a Grade 3 Kentucky Derby points race. Sol Volante ended up pulling off the upset at $13.60. Now, Independence Hall was your big favorite, but there were still some questions with Independence Hall. It was so impressive in the Nashua Stakes last year, running the fastest 2-year-old race, and then first start this year on January 1st in the Jerome Stakes, won that one easily, but made some mistakes that gave you pause for this race. The mistakes that he made in that Jerome Stakes, he was fractious in the paddock, he broke slow, he rushed up wide, he took the lead, he won easily, but the field was really below par in the Jerome Stakes. He was just so much better than the rest of the field on paper, and he dominated that race. But he didn't earn nearly as strong a speed figure as he did in the Nashua. And then fast forward to the Sam F. Davis, his first start around 2 turns, and Independence Hall was able to stalk 2 front runners. They were going pretty fast in that race, but he was sitting a good trip. If you watched him run, though, it seemed like he really didn't want to relax behind those horses. He wanted to go. His head was bowed. He wanted to go, but the jockey didn't want him to go because the pace was quick. He was able to get the first run. He took a brief lead, but Sol Volante rallied strongly from off the pace, and he went right past Independence Hall. And those two were well clear of show finisher Ajoweed, who just fell way behind, was last for a lot of the run, and he was able to get third, but he was no threat to the top 2. They were clearly best of the rest. Now, Sol Volante earned a decent speed figure, but I'm still not convinced that dirt is his best surface. And when was the last time that a Sam F. Davis winner actually made an impact in the Kentucky Derby? I don't think we've ever seen a winner of the Sam F. Davis win the Kentucky Derby. We've had some horses maybe hit the board or do well in other Triple Crown races, but the Sam F. Davis Stakes typically isn't a strong Derby prep. It's only a mile and a 16th. It's still very early on the Derby trail. Don't know how strong this race was. I'm not convinced that Independence Hall wants to go much further than this. As for Sol Volante, he seems like he could go on if he can get the right pace set up, but I still think he's better on turf. We're going to find out more about him in his next start. Now let's jump forward and look at the 3 races at Fairgrounds. We have 2 divisions of the Risen Star Stakes, but before we get to those races, let's do the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra, a Kentucky Oaks points race. And the Rachel Alexandra and the Fairgrounds Oaks, they've been strong predictors of the Kentucky Oaks. So if horses do well in those races, especially win, they've gone on and done well in the Kentucky Oaks. And we have your 2-year-old filly champion in this race, British Idiom, and she's going to be your favorite. But another horse is going to take a lot of money, Finite, for trainer Steve Asmussen. Won her last 4 starts, but she didn't earn a particularly strong speed figure in the local prep for this, the Silver Bullet Day Stakes. Pace wasn't quick. She was just able to outfinish the rest and win that one gamely. As I said, her 4th straight win, but her speed figures really aren't going up. She's going to sit a wide stalking trip in here, and she's going to have to run faster, and I think that maybe she's a bit vulnerable at 2-1, even though obviously based on 4 straight wins, she likes to win and she's capable of winning, but her odds are going to be low. Now His Glory at 10-1, breaking from the inside post, is a little bit interesting. Didn't run well in the Silver Bullet Day Stakes, but this is one that it just has to go. If she can get out to the front, she can be dangerous. And now she's going to add blinkers. She's got the inside post. James Graham's going to have to send her from the rail. And if she can get out there and just run them off their feet. That's what they would try to do in here. If they can do that and get a clear early lead, and maybe the track's favoring speed, she might have a shot to go all the way. The 5 Tempers Rising is one that you want to look at, especially underneath. She's 6-1 for trainer Dallas Stewart. I thought she had a good shot to hit the board in the Silver Bullet Day, and she did just that. She surged in late stretch, rallying to finish a close-up third. She should run well in this spot. She should get at least some pace help. She didn't get much in the Silver Bullet Day. I thought out of all the horses that finished in the top 3 or 4, Tempers Rising ran the best race. She was rallying, the pace wasn't quick, and she made a nice run to finish third. She can hit the board in here. But this race is all about British Idiom. She's your 8-5 morning line favorite, your undefeated 2-year-old filly champion. She went 3 for 3 last year. She was impressive in the Alcibiades. She won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That seemed like a particularly good race. Donna Veloce was second. Bast was third. Those two came back and finished. Bast finished first. Donna Veloce finished second in the Starlet Stakes at Los Alamitos in their next start. So that race was validated by good runs by the 2nd and 3rd place finishers. Now British Idiom making her first start of the year. She's got running style versatility. Brad Cox very good off the layoff. So I'm expecting British Idiom to win her first start of the year in the Rachel Alexandra Stakes. Let's do Fairgrounds Race 12. And this race is the first division of the Risen Star Stakes at 1 mile and an eighth on the main track. The Risen Star used to be 1 mile and a 16th. Now it's 1 mile and an eighth this year. So that could mean something, this extra distance. Some of the horses just might not want to get it. We have a good sized field of 11. Scabbard is number 11. He's 5-1, and he was the beaten favorite in the Lecomte Stakes. He didn't have the best trip, but he's going to have to run better. He's one that last year in the Iroquois at Churchill Downs, he was a clear second behind Dennis's Moment. And then after that in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he was a flat 4th. And then he was flat again in the Lecomte. He's going to have to move forward. Not the best post. He's going to try to rally from off the pace. He really needs to rebound in here. I wouldn't want to take him at 5-1, but if he was 10-1, might be a little bit interesting. A couple other horses in here coming out of the same race. A Digital number 1, number 7, Blackberry Wine. Now Blackberry Wine was able to control a slow pace. Digital got past him in the stretch, and then Blackberry Wine came again and won that race. Now Digital's going to save all the ground stalking the pace. I don't know how much further he wants to go. As for Blackberry Wine, both of his wins on the main track, he was able to get out there and control the pace, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that in this spot. There's some other horses with speed. He's going to have to try to have a different running style if he expects to win this race against better company. Now Mr. Monomoy ran a good race in the Lecomte Stakes. He was the only horse that was near the pace, near that early pace that was around at the end. He finished a solid 3rd. He just missed 2nd by a neck. He's going to stalk the pace outside. Maybe he's going to get first run in here. I could see him moving forward, and we'll see if he can handle the extra distance. Now, one horse that should not have any problem with the extra distance is number 8, Enforceable. He's always been one that seemed like he was a long-winded sort. He broke his maiden at this 1 mile and an eighth distance at Saratoga last summer, and then last time in the Lecomte Stakes, he rallied strongly to win that one nicely. Now the extra distance is going to help. He's going to need some pace help. He should get some pace help, and look for Enforceable, probably to finish somewhere in the top 3. Now Silver State was my top choice in the Lecomte Stakes last time. His first start after the layoff, his first start of the year for trainer Steve Asmussen. And he ran well. He finished a decent 2nd. He rallied from off the pace. And as I said, the Lecomte had a pretty good pace, and the top 2 rallied nicely. And Enforceable just rallied better than Silver State. But Silver State, good post here. He's been breaking slow. We'll see if he can get out of the gate a little bit better. But he's probably going to be saving ground coming off the pace. I'm going to go with number 10, Farmington Road for trainer Todd Pletcher. This one's 8-1 morning line, and he was part of my hot prospects list on my Kentucky Derby 2020 list, which you can read at therunawayhorse.com. But in my last list, I put him on my hot prospects, and he's one that seems to have a lot of upside for Todd Pletcher. Last time out, he ran a good race around 2 turns at Tampa Bay Downs, getting the job done as a favorite, and the top 2 finishers were more than 16 lengths in front of the show finisher. So the speed figure is still going to have to go up, but as 3-year-olds this time of year, we know that they can improve quickly. Todd Pletcher's pretty good at placing his 3-year-olds and qualifying them for the Kentucky Derby. He's got Farmington Road here from post 10, probably going to be mid-pack, stalking the pace towards the outside. It seems to be getting better. He's lightly raced. good pedigree. So he's one that I think could easily be this good. And if that morning line holds up, which it could easily, because we have Lecomte horses coming in this race, we have some decent horses coming out of the allowance ranks. Pretty good size field here. Money should be spread around a bit, and I think that Farmington Road at 8-1 is worth a play. Finally, Fairgrounds race 13, the Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes at 1 mile and an eighth on the main track. This is the second division. This looks like the weaker division. You have all the top finishers from the Lecomte in that first division. You have shippers like Farmington Road. You have some good allowance horses, like I said. In this race, you don't have any horses, top finishers from the Lecomte. You have a mixed mess of horses here from the maiden ranks, trying winners for the first time. But you do have a strong favorite in here, which we'll get to him in a minute. Let's talk about some of the long shots that could come in. The 3, Mr. Big News, if he can get some pace up, he's 20-1 morning line. I think you can use him underneath. He was wide throughout. He on a fast track at Fairgrounds in his maiden win on January 20th. That was a nice effort over a route of ground. He's got a strong route pedigree, so he shouldn't have any problem with the extra distance for trainer Brett Calhoun. Accession for trainer Steve Asmussen. He's one that didn't come in the Lecomte Stakes. He was unsettled. He was rank a bit early. He raced wide. He made a move in the middle, and then he weakened. He finished 7th of 13 in that Lecomte Stakes on January 18th. He's got a nice pedigree, though. Union Rags the sire, Tappet the dam sire, and I wouldn't be shocked if he ran a better race here. I would be a bit surprised if he won. The 9 Lynn's Map is one at 10-1 that I liked last time in the Smarty Jones Stakes. He was entered in the Lecomte Stakes. He drew post 14. They scratched. They decided to run a week later, or a few days later, in the Smarty Jones Stakes at Oaklawn Park. And that day it was a wet track. The front runner won that one. Lynn's Map was chasing throughout. You see that a lot on wet tracks. You see a horse that likes a wet track, get out there and take the lead. Someone takes up the chasing duties. They get tired. The front runner keeps going, and then other horses pick up the pieces. I think that's exactly what happened in that race at Oaklawn Park. But Lynn's Map, if you go back to the start before that, he beat Mr. Monomoy, and I mentioned that one in the other division of the Risen Star. Now, he beat Mr. Monomoy in a local fairgrounds race, an optional claiming dirt route on December 21st. And he was definitely better than Mr. Monomoy that day. So Lynn's Map is capable of running a better race, and I wouldn't be shocked if he jumped up and at least improved and at least ran back to his December 21st race. If he does that, he can be in the mix. But I don't think they're going to beat number 8, Anneau. He just looks like he dominates this race on paper. He's 8-5 morning line. He didn't win either of his stake starts. He started his career Golden Gate Fields in a turf route, and he won that one easily. Then they threw him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and he was 45-1, and he ran a big race. He just missed in a photo there. He was a strong second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in just his second career start. And then the Los Alamitos Futurity was his third start, and he ran against Thousand Words there, and Thousand Words beat him on the square. Thousand Words dueled on the lead. He put away the other speed, and then Anneau came to his outside, and he was able to hold that one off. But we know Thousand Words is very good. He came back and won the Sham Stakes. He's 3 for 3. He's one of Bob Baffert's top Kentucky Derby hopes this year, and Anneau coming off back-to-back efforts in the graded stakes ranks where he finished second. And now he's adding blinkers. Joao Rosario's going to ride. And as the favorite, I'm not going to try to beat him. I'm going to use long shots like the 3, Mr. Big News, number 6, Accession, maybe number 9, Lynn's Map underneath him in exotics. But I think this race definitely goes through Anneau. He ended up getting into the weaker half of the division, and if he's a real Kentucky Derby threat, he shouldn't have any problem beating this field. Now, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make some comments in the comment section. Who do you like in some of these Oaks and Derby prep races for Saturday, February 15th, 2020. If you want to find more of my free picks, you can go over to the runawayhorse.com. You can find on my New York page free stakes picks from Aqueduct each weekend. I have more free picks if you go over to horseracingnation.com. Every day on my best bet blog there, I give out a free play. Pick6blog.com, I do occasional Pick 6 tickets from Santa Anita Park. You can find those free of charge at pick6blog.com. I gave out a free winning ticket on January 31st on that blog. And then finally, for my full card analysis, if you're interested in purchasing my full cards, you can find that at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page. You can read my Kentucky Derby page at the Runaway Horse, all my Derby blogs and videos, everything like that. right there on my Kentucky Derby 2020 page. Now that will wrap up this week's video. I'll be back to recap these stakes races next week and then look at another Kentucky Derby points race.